What's up, guys? This is Tabletop Vibes, and today we're taking a look at Moon by Sinister Games. And as always, we'd like to thank our sponsors, Noble Nice Games, for sponsoring this video. Jason, how is building a moon base?
Oh, it was great building a moon base. I built the best moon base ever.
You did beat me, so that is an accurate statement.
Yeah, so on this game, you are traveling from Earth to the moon. You're bringing a whole bunch of resources and structures and everything with you, and you're competing to build the best moon base that you can over the course of 3 eras, which represents about 100 years Earth time.
Sure. Yeah. I think and you get all these cool cards, and it's a drafting game. If you're not familiar with drafting, it means you pick a card, play a card, pass all your cards.
Yep. And you keep going until you totally exhaust the hands, and then you refill them with the second era, same amount of cards. You play those cards, and then refill them with a third one, play all those cards, and that's the end of the game.
Yep. Okay. So you start off this game by gaining a base card, and that base card gives you some sort of income that you get, which is a resource. I think there's food, there's metal, there's water, and
there's
and sunburst.
Yes, energy.
I call it the sun. It looks like a sunburst. And so you have your main base, and that's what you base everything off of.
There you go. And then it also has what we'll refer to as flags. These are really kind of just the cool features of what makes your base really kind of neat. And what's really cool about these starting bases is that they're all different.
Right.
So it is not you're starting at the same level, you're starting at different levels. And so it kind of can gear towards your early game towards certain cards to play.
I started with food, and I think you started with water. Yeah. So it makes it easier to buy cards because some cards have prerequisites that you need to pay for, or you need to have certain tags of the yellow structured, which are the banners that Jason was talking about,
flags,
or upgrades to your base to be able to take that card into your tableau.
Right. So on your turn, what you're going to do is you're going to have this hand of cards, and they're going to consist of your structure cards, which are all the cool things you can put down, both from like a resource and from just building up your little colonies perspective.
Yeah.
And you're also going to have an expedition card, and it's not an asymmetric power game. It's more like a symmetrical sort of power game.
Yeah, I mean, it does something asymmetrical, but you get to pass it around.
Right.
Which is, I feel like that's
that's kind of cool. That's kind of cool. So each of you will have one of these cards. They're different. So you're going to either play one of your normal structure cards to basically build something with the prerequisites, or you're going to throw that card away and you get some sort of assimilation value, which is usually resources, could be a rover.
Like a destruction bonus.
Exactly. And then you can also play that expedition card. You can use your rover, and we'll get into what that is in a sec. You can claim a reputation card. We'll get into that. That's kind of some cool stuff you can do.
Right.
Or you can flip as a one-time bonus some pink cards, which are some of your structure cards, to give you a one-time bonus during that aura.
Yeah.
So that's the things you can do.
Yeah, and so the goal of the game is to get the most points, the most hearts points, and so all these different things build up to that crescendo. Oh, rough times. To say,
music.
Yeah. And so whoever has the most at the end of the game wins, or if it comes down to a tie, whoever has the most rovers. So I will talk about rovers really quick.
Yes.
Rovers are awesome little space mini caravan car things that you can use to put on other people's tableau to use their tag system or to get more resources.
Right.
But then you don't get to drive your rover back. That rover now Jason owns my rover now. So if I use your resources, he owns my rover.
Right. It's a good give and take, but it really helps fill in that gap when you don't have that specific resource or flag that you need in order to put down that card that you have.
Right. And you can use rovers before you use your action or after. And so you can combo them if you don't have those resources, like Jason was saying, to then be able to gain those resources to play the card you need. Which I think I forgot about that a bunch of times. So.
Right, so let's get into some of the other ones. You have, like I said, your reputation cards. And these are ones you start off, they're all public, and you have to fulfill some sort of prerequisite, and then you get the card. And the prerequisites could be have one of any resource, or it could be have 2 different cards with 3 flags each, something really hard to do.
We did not get that one.
It was really hard to do. And these give you some sort of one-time ability. Now, what I really like about this is that it's not game-breaking.
Yeah.
You know, some of these games out there, when you have these one-time, I have to really get for that card, then you get this huge bonus, and it really, it's competitive, but it really sort of breaks the game.
Right, exactly. And they don't do that much in this. The cool part, too, is there's bronze, silver, and gold reputation cards, and the bronze cards actually are ongoing, which I didn't use any of mine. But that's fine. Silver is like some sort of good benefit. I think it has to do with like end game things a little bit. because like mine was like, if I could have got a 6th rover, I would have gotten whatever that was. And then gold reputation cards, which are like a lot of hearts and a lot of really cool abilities.
Yes, and the hearts are the end game point, or the victory points of the pointing system. So then you also have the pink cards, and these are ones where...
They're fun.
Yeah, they are fun. Like I said, they're one-time use. Again, this is another structure card you're putting down. And with these ones, it's usually tied somewhere else in your engine.
Right.
So,
or should be.
So it's like, okay, gain a certain number of resources for every food tokens you might have, or something like that. You know, so it really pairs. You really want to be careful where you're taking your pink card, because it pairs well with something else that you're doing.
Yeah. So I mean, if you've played Villagers, you kind of understand this aspect, because you're buying to unlock cards, so you're putting the coins on the card. Well, on Moon, you're doing that with hearts, and then those hearts then become like a generator for hearts each round, and or you score. So like mine was like, for every food tag I had, I gained an extra heart.
Right.
And then I didn't get any food tags, so that was super awesome.
Right. Let's see. Oh, the gray cards. That was another one. So another type of cards that or the engine.
Oh yeah, there's an engine aspect of it too.
Yeah, I like the engine aspect.
It's a heart engine.
Yes,
technically.
So the gray cards are point based. That's purely what they are. They can use not one of two ways, but there are two different classes of them. One is just a straight 12 points at the end of the game, cost a boatload, but you get them. The other one, and the cooler one, is you put it down, and basically, depending on what actions you're doing throughout your turn, you'll put extra hearts on this card, and at the end of every aura, you score points for how many hearts are on that card. So again, it's this engine building sequence.
Or their end game points, like however many food you have at the end of the game, you score that many points, or energy, or gray cards, or structured blue cards, which I had. So there's like this whole give and take aspect of how much do you want to build up your tableau in gaining food,
and gaining resources,
gaining tags. And so it's kind of like this, you need to have a good balance. But then at the same time, you're drafting these cards, so just because, if I don't pick this card because I can't buy it, but then I pass it to Jason and he decides we're going to discard it. Hate drafting. There is some hate drafting. And then it comes back to me, the card's not there. So it's a lot of like, it's a little bit of luck, but it's a lot of like, you're planning your moves and you're hoping that you decipher what that person's going to play based off what they're building.
But I found that the most complicated part, and you had to correct me a couple times on this, is those optional actions.
This guy.
Because you want to chain stuff together because that's what the game's telling you to do, but you can only do one optional action a turn.
This guy, one turn, he's like done, does all the things. He builds a card, sends a rover, does a asymmetric expedition ability, and I'm like, whoa, what is happening? So I mean, you get to do any of those, but you get to do it once, which makes it more burny. I guess.
But that's really the feel of the game. You really want to do a bunch of stuff, and the interesting part of the game is you're incentivized to do it, but it really is kind of holding you back because of that restriction. So how much planning?
You can't do
how much
everything.
Balancing?
But you want to do everything. You can't do everything, and then can you make what you do worth doing? Wow. Yeah.
There you go.
So Sinister Fish. They had a Kickstarter. It's already done. It's out. That's why we have it. And so definitely check it out. If you like Villagers, the other secondary one is Streets, and then the third installment is here, Moon. It's a great game. It's pretty fast. Card drafting, it's easy to learn, and it gives you good strategy. So definitely check it out, and comment if you've played any of Sinister Fish's other games. And as always, thanks for watching, and we'll check you next time. Also, the fun aspect of this game for when you start is the loudest player goes first.
Right, and the problem is Adam took this immediately. I think I'm much louder than you are.
I don't think so. You guys can comment.
You guys comment on who's louder.
You guys know what's up. Choose correctly. That's all I have to say.